to get started because I think I like all these sessions on health. Maybe my mind is constantly focused on health and wellness these days. We're very excited today. So, a very warm welcome to all of you and a very good evening for joining us for Seven Secrets of Optimum Health, an integrated approach with Ms. Sujata Suri, who's a certified health coach, a weight management specialist, and an ET Now Stars of the Industry awardee. Before I continue, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Sipping Thoughts. So, Sipping Thoughts is a multimedia company that was co founded by me and Meeta Gudgutia. It was set up keeping in mind the tagline Real Women, Real Thoughts. We
Coming
wanted,
Sunday.
we wanted to create a no judgment
Saturday.
platform. Sorry,
कल ही तो है परसों ही तो है
sorry, 1 second. I think we've got some background noise. No worries about that. uh, Sorry, where was I? Now I lost my space. So we reach, Sipping Thoughts reaches to about 2.5 million women on a monthly basis. And our goal is to create a network of women for women, and of course, all the men that have supported us. But in this webinar, we're going to talk about something that's becoming increasingly important. We all know the phrase that health is wealth, but it's now even more important for us to take care of our health. And in this webinar, we shall discover the importance of an integrated, holistic approach towards our health instead of cherry picking this and that and saying, okay, here's the latest trend, let me follow it. This webinar, we hope to keep it as interactive as possible with lots of hands on learning to enable you to take a positive and impactful steps towards a healthier, happier, and fitter life. A little bit about our speaker today, Sujata. Sujata was, of course, facilitated by the Women's Leadership Citation of the now Stars of the Industry Award.
One, two.
She is a certified health coach. She's an authorized rehab fitness essentials trainer. She's a certified weight management specialist. She's a mindful eating specialist. She's a group fitness trainer. And yes, she's a CPR certified from the Indian Red Cross. So many different skills she's got behind her, like almost covers the entire gamut. And hence why her approach is really an integrated approach to health. So, Sujata, first of all, welcome to Sipping Thoughts. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Sukirti. I'm really excited to see all of you here and really excited to tell you more and more about, what I feel is very, very critical. And I'm sure you'll all benefit.
First of all, Sujata, I want to ask you the burning question. I know because we are stuck at home, a lot of us, we used to go to college and we used to talk about the freshman 10, the freshman 15. Now we're all talking about the lockdown 10, the lockdown 15. What are you seeing as some of the major concerns that your clients are speaking to you about?
Well, I see, mental health issues are on the rise. People are edgy, irritable. It's kind of getting onto them. This entire work from home, for example, because there are no timings that people are adhering to. And despite the convenience, it's, I think, now slowly started getting to people. They are also really wanting to meet real people, and that is which is why webinars like these are very important. And I think we have a very critical role to play because you at least get to see people virtually, otherwise you're inside your house and you don't really get to meet people. And these are the key things. Otherwise, I mean, one good thing that has happened is that people have started cooking at home, which they weren't earlier. That's a good sign. And and of course, immunity remains an issue, and COVID cases are rising everywhere at an alarming rate. And that is a cause for concern. And of course, not being able to hit the gym and online classes, there's always a little difference, but trying to make the most of it. Our industry has seen a lot of upheaval, the fitness industry. But yes, I think we are now slowly getting used to the new ideas and people are accepting it, the way it is, because I think lockdowns and COVID is here to stay for a while. It's not running away.
Oh, fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your approach and the way that you are thinking about this whole wellness area, because I know there's so much information out there, especially now in the corona times, because we've all been like reading, we've been watching all the YouTube videos. And for me, actually, it's become more confusing than ever.
Yes, very well put, Suketi, because the internet is a fascinating place. Even I've discovered a lot about the internet now with the lockdown. I've realized that for every fact that is placed, there is always a counterfact. So it can be very confusing, and you really don't know what is backed by research, what is backed by science. And at least, to a layman, everything seems like the truth or the truth, as I may put it. So, yes, that is a challenge, and we really need to put things in perspective because whatever I'm going to discuss today is backed by science and it is scientifically proven. So we obviously, we don't like to go for myths and stuff like that or things which have not been proven by science and certified by scientists. And I think that is a very important thing. So whenever you're reading anything on the internet, please make sure that the research papers or whatever, I mean, there is some backing there. Don't just pick up stuff from WhatsApp forwards and the university of WhatsApp, as I call it. And yeah.
Google them. Well, with that, let's get started. I know everybody, and I know one of the first things we will talk about is a lot of the myths. So I'm dying to hear your perspective on all of them. So over to you, Sujata.
Thank you so much, Sukiti. So, everyone here, okay, really, really, warm welcome to all of you. And are you all excited to get cracking? Are you all excited?
Hi.
Yeah. If you're excited, please type yes in the chat box. I mean, that will give me some motivation. Thank you. Thank you. Great, great, great. Yes, 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 yes. That's very nice. Okay. So let me share the screen and get cracking. I'll, keep coming back and forth because I love talking to you rather than, make it a pure presentation format. Is that all right? If it's okay, please type okay or give me a double thumbs up. Actually, that will be easier. Yeah. Great. Thank you for your permission. So now let's, at least start with the basics. Okay. So yes, this is the topic today, 7 secrets of optimum health. And as you can see, in the visual, that is the way I look at optimum health. I mean, I should be able to do that even when I'm 70 or 80 or 90 years old. And people do that. I mean, you have Milkha Singh in our country, who's a live example. He goes for a run even at 90. So why not? Because we all have the same muscles, the same bones, and the same joints. So we shall discover as we navigate, through this webinar that it's possible, and should never give up. So having said that, I'd like to tell you that being healthy and fit isn't a fad or a trend anymore. I think COVID has kind of proven beyond doubt that it's no longer a fad or a trend, it's a lifestyle. And are we ready for it? So, talking about fads and trends, I mean, these are some of the popular ones: fat free, sugar free, keto, paleo, vegan, intermittent, go local. I'd like to know from all of you, have you tried any of this? Has anyone tried any of these fads? If you have, please type which one in the chat box. I may have missed some in the list.
I've tried intermittent fasting. So I
Okay.
always, I mean, the various different ways to do it.
Yes. Uh,
So Hemati says she's tried keto, Asha intermittent fasting.
good.
Yeah, so Nina has tried sugar free, Anukita keto.
Yeah. Okay. So great. So do you think, it's a mixed response? I mean, does it work for everyone? Do you think it works for everybody? What has been your assessment?
I find
Anyone?
that it's hard to sustain. And Anukita says not really. Asha says no.
Yeah. What has
It
been
works
your
for a very short
experience,
period of time when you're very
Kirti?
focused. Rashmi says, Nina Sood says it works. Rashmi says no. Haimata says not really. Neelu says no.
Yeah. So it's like you said, even in such a small sample size, we've seen that it's not a one size fits all. And that is what I wanted to highlight. Everybody who comes up with a diet plan or something, uh, it is it works for some people. It may not work for everyone. You know why? Because we are all unique. We all have a unique fingerprint, right? Similarly, our bodies are different. It may or may not work. It may work for some people, it may not work. So every plan, your health plan needs to, yes, you do reach a plateau, as Asha is mentioning here. So you need to actually do it in a very different way, because and plan it customized to your body type, to various other factors. It's not just the body, it could also be where you live, the climatic conditions there, whether it's hot or it's cold. I mean, there are so many things that depend on structuring a diet and an exercise plan. So it's not so easy to pick up stuff from the internet and design it yourself, unless of course you have the expertise to do so. Yeah, would you agree? If you agree, please type agree in the chat box. Great. Okay, nice. So now, okay, all right. So now let me take you through to the next option. What is it? I would like to define optimum health. What is optimum health for me? And of course, today I'm here to share my secrets with you, right? So it'll be a bit of my perspective with your permission. So let's get back to the screen. Yep. Okay. So, have we heard this before? Thin is good health. Yeah. And I'm here to tell you that creating such a perception feeds the weight loss industry, the health food industry, the corrective surgery industry, and ultimately the pharmaceutical industry. And so, I mean, have you ever seen thin people, or, people who kind of lose weight all the time, constantly they are on that yo-yo diet, losing weight? I mean, are they very healthy? You know, Looking good and not falling sick is optimum health. Yes, correct. And yes, anybody else has anything to say on this? Do you agree that this is a perception that has been built? So would you rather be thin, just thin and look good, or would you rather be lean and strong and look good too? Yes, she has low immunity. Someone said lean and strong. Yes, if it's lean and strong, please type lean and strong in the chat box, or LNS or something. Yeah. So, correct. Lean is also slim, right? It is not thin, but it is slim. I mean, you don't have to be a size 0, but we can get rid of the extra fat. Yeah. Correct. Great. I'm so glad we are in a room full of people who think largely similarly. So let's move forward. Yes, let's see how we can get lean and strong now. Great. Okay. So my definition of optimum health, is this is my definition. You may or may not agree, but what I believe is that you need to have a strong and lean body. Should be standing tall and confident. Yeah, naturally glowing skin and shiny hair. You don't need makeup. You should be able to walk into a room and make your statement, without makeup. That is good health. It speaks. Yeah. And you need to have good and natural immunity, a positive attitude, and warm and always smiling. Not frequently edgy and irritable, as I say, because if somebody is edgy or irritable, I never judge, judge their character, for example, because I know they are unwell. There is a nutrient deficiency, which is what is making them behave the way they are. Yeah. So that is, to me, a sign of optimum health. If you agree, please type agree in the chat box. Good, 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 nice. So we're all on the same page, by and large. So, would you like to know how we can get there? If, yeah, double thumbs up if you'd like to know that. Great, great, great. Yes. Okay. So, now let's see how we're going to get there. What are the five? We've heard this before, right? So I'm not going to, kind of repeat it, except that let's just go through this very quickly. What are the five simple steps to wellness? This you must have heard from every single person who would have spoken about health, or you may have, read it 100 times, on the internet somewhere that, you know, do not follow fads, trends, or crash diets. Why? Because there's no one size fits all, like I said. Then a balanced, healthy diet. What is a balanced, healthy diet? I mean, some will tell you that you need to balance your macros. I mean, as if we are walking around with a calculator, I mean, you kind of sit and calculate, okay, itna protein, itna carb, itna. But yeah, a balanced, healthy diet, which basically should comprise of your proteins and carbohydrates and fats and water and the nutrients and vitamins and minerals, right? That's what constitutes a healthy diet. But do you agree that it's not very easy to keep track? I mean, to sit with a calculator or, to figure out how much of protein is there in certain foods, or whether, it has X amount of carbohydrates, how much of that is going to get converted to fiber and how much of that is going to get released as sugar. Are we aware of that, or are we going to walk around with an encyclopedia all the time and keep checking? Do you think it's a good idea to therefore understand how we can, work out something which is far easier for our brain to understand and register, and we don't have to stress about it all the time? Do you agree that it's a good idea? Yeah,
Yes.
if you do, then a double thumbs up, please. Yeah. Okay, great. So, of course, we'll find out. And then, of course, there's regular exercise. Now, here, since I believe a lot in exercise science and I specialize in that, I would love to tell you that there are lots of misconceptions around exercise. So I'll quickly say that. People want either strength training, or someone says, don't do cardio. You'll find a lot of write ups, don't do cardio, don't do strength. In fact, I find a lot of weight loss programs suggesting that do not exercise. You don't need to exercise. You'll be fine. That's really wrong. We'll discover why. But you need to exercise and take care of your cardio, strength, flexibility, balance, mobility, stability. All of that is important. Okay. We're not going to cover that. You cannot do that in half an hour or 40 minutes. But I just thought I'll share, and you keep that in mind when you exercise. And of course, a warm up and a cool down. Yeah. Then adequate rest and relaxation. We've heard that. Yes, you need your sleep and you need entertainment to relax your mind and all of that. And a positive mental attitude doesn't grow on trees, but we need to develop that. Yeah. So this is what we've all heard. So let's see how we can, therefore, find out what are the things that nobody tells you about. Yeah. And some things that I've discovered, what I'm going to share with you today, the 7 secrets of optimum health, which is the real topic. I'm going to actually, show you the elephant in the room. We all know it exists, but we've never addressed these issues. And this is based on my years of health and fitness coaching practice and having successfully worked with several hundred clients over the years. I've been around for close to 18 years now. And, this is something that is based on my observations working with my clients. So, seems to work. First secret, manage your stress. It is important, it's critical. Stress has killed, like I said, more people in more ways than eating anything ever can or will. Have you ever heard of anyone dying because they were eating a rasgulla? You know, doesn't happen. But stress leads to a whole bunch of lifestyle diseases, and one thing leads to the other and has caused many a challenge. And it has other issues as well. Too much of stress. We just heard a while back a child, I think in Leti Shriram College, committed suicide because she didn't have a laptop. I mean, if only she had reached out. So this is very critical. And I think parents, if there are parents here, you must take care of it seriously, and especially with the children, reach out, find out what is it that could be bothering them. I'm not here to take a session on mental health. That's a discussion for another time. But do, you know, recognize the elephant in the room. It's a huge, big elephant. Yeah. The next secret is sleep tight. Easier said than done. Yeah. What are the symptoms? How will you know that you're not sleeping well? Of course, puffiness, dark circles, all that is fine. But you'll be edgy. You'll have mood swings. There'll be fatigue. You'll get tired easily. Difficulty in concentrating. You can't multitask. It's easier. People say, okay, I can't multitask. That's nothing to be proud of. Our brains are designed to multitask. If we are not using it, or we are not able to do it, it has something to do with nutrition. There is a direct link. Okay, it's not a personal, I wouldn't call it a habit or someone's personality. It is not a part of personality. It is because there is a certain deficiency in our diet that is causing us to think in that manner. Okay. And of course, there's paranoia, hallucinations. Those are the extreme cases. But yes, this is a sign that you're not getting sufficient sleep. Also, noise pollution is a silent killer. You'll find gadgets in the house which are kind of humming away, your refrigerator maybe, or if there's a fan or an AC. All of that is not allowing you to get into your REM cycle. Yeah. And we are constantly watching the screen. The LCD screen is another challenge. Things are there, they're going on in our heads, and so on and so forth. So that is something, and that can cause a whole lot of stuff. Like you can have high BP, diabetes, as you can see, there's a whole long list of, lifestyle diseases. The third secret, my third secret is that you need to hydrate throughout the day. And how much water? There is no formula for that. There is a rough ballpark figure, but there's no formula that only a specialist can design based on the person's lifestyle and the temperature and all of that around. But on an average, I would say 3 to 4 liters a day. And are we really drinking that much? And it needs to be done throughout the day. It's not that, yeah, I can see, I can see.
Reminded me, I said,
Just drinking. Yes. So dehydration can cause headaches, constipation, sugar cravings. This whole craving, a lot of things, cramping of your muscles and elevated heart rate, palpitations, dizziness, dull, dry skin, all of that comes along with it. So if you're constantly getting headaches, a lot of it can be addressed by drinking sufficient water and sip it throughout the day. Keep your 3 or 4 bottles aside and mark it like, okay, I need to finish that by the end of the day, and do that. That's a very good way to start. Yeah. Then what is the fourth secret? The fourth secret is you need to live pain-free. Yeah. Before I did the rehab trainer course, I had no idea, that this can cause so many challenges. And I think these are common now: a back pain or a shoulder pain, or, a lot of people can't raise their arms. Yeah. And, or some people who are into a lot of gymming, they'll bulk up like Salman Khan, that poor man can't raise his hands because the muscles, because he wants to look good, and with all that bulge, he's not able to do that. So I always tell everyone, become a Hrithik Roshan or a Tiger Shroff and not a Salman, because you'll have multiple other challenges. Yeah. Then overuse injuries like your carpal tunnels, especially with, working on the computer all the time. We're constantly typing, our wrists are hanging in the air. We're not very mindful about these things, and they lead to muscle imbalances. And these imbalances, because, for example, if you have a back pain, the brain is going to direct those muscles to compromise and think differently and make you sit up, whereas you're not using the muscles that ought to be used. Dhire, 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 all that is going to create other challenges, and it can lead to a whole lot of lifestyle disorders. Yeah. So it's not just a muscle pain. there is a lot more to it than pain. Of course, there's a constant pain and discomfort, and then it becomes a chronic pain. I mean, you have sciatica, for example. A lot of people suffer, and you won't realize that if you are, you may have a pain in your, let's say, in your hips, but the origin could be somewhere else on your foot, because the nerve is all across. I mean, it's kind of traveling through your body. So wherever there is a muscle imbalance, that is what triggers off a lot of challenges. So we need to take care of that. There are techniques, there are specialists, exercise specialists, physiotherapists, people like us. Yes, we can take care of those things. And you must not ignore it. If you have pain, if you have a chronic pain, please fix it. That is going to take you towards optimum health. Yeah. The next secret is, okay, let me pause here. We've done 4. So how about, telling me, did you think that these were things we never thought of before, really, or gave it a serious thought? Could you please tell me in the chat box whether, I see everyone kind of quiet, so I thought I must pause. Yeah. And check. Yeah. Anybody else? I mean, yeah. If you feel that, yes, water, yes, someone says water, someone says sleep. These are certain things, which.
Something that we tend to ignore, the small aches and pains.
Correct. Correct.
That we may know them, but it's Namita says we need someone to emphasize it again.
Yeah.
Aditi, yes, sleep and stress. But Parul says yes, but we always take them very lightly. Neeta, please suggest remedies for foot pain. Anukita says to be managed well. Anjana, pain. Yes, as Shusmita says, we know them, but sometimes we neglect. We take it very lightly.
Right. So great. We are all in sync. So let's progress further. So far, I've just done 4.
Before we go forward, Fatima has asked, what precautions? I think a lot of people are talking about the pain, and especially that part that we take lightly.
Yes. Well, uh, let me give you this big secret. You need to exercise correctly, first of all, and secondly, okay, this is, I think, a tip that I can share right now, since all of you here must be using the laptop or sitting with your computer constantly. Blood circulation is one of the reasons. Krishna Raj Iyer, right? Yeah. Okay. That is one of the reasons. Why? Because, okay, everything's related. Since you mentioned blood circulation, let me tell you, how is the blood circulated? If your heart is pumping blood properly, if your heart muscles are strong, they're going to be able to pump the blood to all the muscles in your body. Now, is your heart that strong? Are you exercising enough? Are you doing cardio exercises? Because if you don't do cardio exercises and only do strength training because you like strength training, the heart is not going to be strong. Yeah. Similarly, your lungs, they need to work to your full capacity, especially during COVID times. Yeah, we'll come back to that. But I hope I've given you a clue and on how we can work better.
A big question when you say exercise, what is the right amount of exercise that we should do? Is there any tip for that?
Yes, I can share that. See, a lot of people mention morning walk. Morning walk, yes. Okay, the good news here is that, yes, if you're looking at health benefits, then 10,000 steps a day is what is recommended. But if you're looking at any other benefits like weight loss, then 10,000 is the base. You need to work out over that, beyond that. Yeah. So if I say an hour of exercise, if someone wants to shed weight, then that is over and above the 10,000 steps. 10,000 steps is just to stay active and to get health benefits, like you'll get, BP, your blood pressure will remain normal, or it's going to give benefit to somebody who's diabetic, and so on and so forth. However, for greater benefits, there is no gain without pain. Yeah.
You're just telling us that the 10,000 step is the baseline just to be active. Anything above that is really when you start
Yes.
thinking about the benefit of weight loss or any other things if you're looking for.
Correct. Yeah.
And what about strength training versus cardio? Is there any kind of a formula there, or is it different depending on the person? Or
See,
some
you
kind of a
can't do strength training every day. That's the challenge because if you do strength training, the reason why we get muscle imbalance, there are two of them. Either you're an exercise freak and you're doing strength training like 4 days a week or 5 days a week. That is going to give you a lot of imbalance. The other thing is you're sitting down and working, so your hip flexor muscles get tightened. And with the hip flexors tightening, everything else, all the muscles are connected. So there's a kinetic chain of sorts, so that creates a complete imbalance in your system. And if that is not fixed, then there are going to be big problems. Yeah, these are the two key challenges. Strength training is very good and must be done. You need strength, right? Remember, I said lean and strong. So you cannot be strong if you don't do strength training. And but that means you need to give a gap of at least 2 days in between, 2 to 3 days. So not more than 3 days a week is what I recommend for strength. The other days you must do cardio.
And now Pushali has asked an interesting question. Is exercising okay if you have a backache or shoulder pain?
Yes, of course, but you need to do the correct exercise. Poshali, I know Poshali. Yeah, then yes, you can always connect with me and I'll tell you what to do. Yeah.
Perfect. Go ahead, and then we'll come back. We will try to take all the questions. We have plenty of time with Sujata, so we will come to everybody's questions.
Yeah, great. Yeah, please don't forget your questions. Hold on to them and we'll come back to it. Yeah. Yes, yoga and walk, but again, depends from person to person, your body, your injuries. If with injuries, I always say you first fix the injuries and then do other things, but walking is fine. Absolutely fine. Yoga, you need to be a little careful. But we'll come back to it. I think, is it okay, so Kirti, if we
Yes, we'll come back to the questions in a
yeah,
bit.
if we have a Q&A later, because I know, it's a topic where you have hundreds of questions and I'd love to answer all of them. Okay, let's come to the secret number 5. You need to systematically boost your natural immunity every single day. Yeah, the body doesn't have a chip whereby it remembers that, okay, it's been done once, so I need to do it constantly. You need to do it every single day because everything else gets flushed out. Yeah. And you can see the visuals. I mean, what are the immunity boosting things? You have garlic, ginger. And luckily in India, most of it is a part of our diet. You have turmeric, you have tulsi. Here they've shown basil leaves in the visual. That's okay. We use the real tulsi. That's also fine. Methi seeds, honey, cinnamon, lemon. These are all very good immunity boosters. And my favorite is I like to take a cinnamon tea of sorts. But please use Ceylon, the Sri Lankan cinnamon, not the other stuff that you get around. They're not effective. So the ones you get in Sri Lanka, which looks like rolled up paper, those are the ones to use for health benefits. This is okay. It'll just give you some good taste. You can put it in your cakes and all.
So
The
you
other
were telling us about your favorite. So tell us more about your detox, your favorite immunity booster.
Yeah, I like to have cinnamon and hot water. I actually boil cinnamon powder. I have the Ceylon cinnamon, so I use that. I just love that, and I have it before going to sleep. And even if you have it in the morning, it's fine. Honey, again, not everybody. A lot of people are allergic to honey, and honey doesn't go very well with me, so I don't add it. And you need to add very little if you want it. Otherwise, honey has a lot of benefits. So a little bit of honey and a little bit of lemon goes very well with the cinnamon water in the morning. It both the lemon and the honey. This honey doesn't suit me, doesn't suit my body type. First thing in the morning, I can have it during the day, but first thing in the morning, it just builds up the acidity, so I don't have it, right? But yeah, my favorite is cinnamon water any day for anything. But tulsi, in COVID times, it is imperative, and especially now with winter setting in, use ginger, use black pepper, use tulsi. You can use some cinnamon and maybe a petal of star anise, and just boil everything together and keep that concoction ready. And you can have it, sip it 2 or 3 times a day, or even at least once a day, if not more. And if you have a giloi plant growing somewhere, you can put some giloi stems in it too when you're boiling it. This is
Couple of questions. Green tea and green coffee. Do
green
they also help?
green. Sorry, I didn't get that. So
Green tea and green coffee. Are they good options?
green tea and green coffee, anything that's plant based is fine. I mean, there's really nothing wrong. However, they do contain tannin and caffeine, so they tend to be a little dehydrating. Not green tea, but coffee a little bit. Even green coffee, I find, a little dehydrating, but they're far better than the regular coffee and the there's no harm. There's no harm if you're having your water, like, you're taking 3-4 liters or 5 liters of water in a day. If you're every time I see you drinking,
Water
yeah, yeah, but that's the way to go, especially when you sit in air-conditioned environments in your offices or even in the homes, and we don't feel thirsty. And I'll cover a bit of that later. And we forget to drink water when we are working. So we must remember to drink it and sip it through the day. It's a good thing, good habits, Sukirti.
ask a question on water because there's a lot of misinformation or information out there also that you could be having too much water.
Too much water, well, it gets flushed out unless your kidneys are not functioning well. I mean, or you're just stressing out your kidneys when you don't have that kind of an exercise. See, beyond 4 liters is for, or even 4 liters is for people who are exercising, which everybody should. I mean, if you're not, then you're not going to be well, and you will not be able to, battle it out with COVID. I mean, nobody should get it, but in such an eventuality, it's better to be best prepared. You should have your army ready and hydrate well. Yeah. And another thing is, I clarified it earlier that cardio exercises for a strong heart, lungs, and work on core strength, because core is what props you up, makes you sit. If you get that correct posture, it is also a strong core is going to prevent your back pains. The back pain is never a problem in the back, it's always due to a weak core. So of course, this is, like I said, every bullet point here can be converted to a webinar, 2-hour webinar. But we're just trying to pack everything together and kind of fire away and give you a lot of thoughts. So shall we proceed to the next one? It's okay with your permission? All right. Secret 6. Now, what the hell is an umami, right? So I love this because this is a taste, and this was actually discovered in as early as 2002. We talk about our taste buds. We always knew there was bitter, sweet, salty, and sour, right? And they are all there on our tongue, and they are the ones which sense the taste. Unfortunately, nowadays we eat too fast and we gobble up all the food, and we don't, that has other challenges, like it's going to affect our digestion. We don't feel satiated and we don't taste anything. So the body thinks it's not eaten, right? So that is another problem. But that aside, we need to embrace umami to feel satiated. Now, what is umami? Let's come to that. This is the new thing. Everybody knows bitter, sweet, salty, sour. And roughly, if you look at your own plate, this is how our grandmothers did it. They were not going with the calorie calculators and, macro calculators or micro calculators. They would actually, if you go through any of the local cuisines, I mean, go to any state and you see the local food there, it is always going to be around this, sweet, sour, salty, bitter. These were the 4 key things. Ayurveda, of course, has 2 more. Yeah. But umami is something which the world has accepted, and that makes you feel satiated. These actually taste like, it's a very brothy kind of a taste, very comforting taste. And it's the taste that's there in mushrooms or meats, or, I'll just show you. And they're all from natural sources, whatever is there. So I wanted to share a little bit about the umami. and it gives you a very balanced feel. So when you have these foods, which are umami tasting foods, they make you feel satiated. They give that sense of taste that makes your mouth salivate. So if there's saliva that is going to mix with the food, and as you kind of chew it, is going to go and help with the digestion process. And if the food is not mixed with saliva, then the digestion gets impaired, which is the case in most of the situations, because we are eating too fast. Yeah, and kind of going gulp, gulp, gobble, gobble. Yeah. So, yes, and they are mostly complex foods. So, what is meant by a complex food? It means that the body needs to do some work to break them down. Similarly, even carbohydrates are like that. You have simple and complex. So complex ones are those where the body needs to do some work, burn some calories, use some energy to break those foods down. Therefore, those are recommended because energy is getting expended. Okay. And I want to show you, I also feel, this is my feeling, and this is what I've observed, that if you have, like we talk about no fat, no sugar, why not? No fat. You see these people who go on these no fat diets. No fat diets will cause irritability. Our entire nervous system, the brain and the nerves require fat. You need those fats there in your diet. Otherwise, the first thing that gets affected is here and your nervous system. So this, everything gets impaired. And who wants to, you'll see them very edgy, very irritable. Remember, I mentioned edgy and irritable. A lot of people are not eating good fats. Yeah. um, Fat free has a challenge. No sugar. My God, sugar makes you happy, for God's sake. So if you're going to not give sugar to a person, after a few days they'll be cranky. I mean, you need that sweet taste, of course, in the proportion that's there on the tongue. So sweet has to be small, less, right? Little portions. But it is important, because if you don't give sweet to yourself, you're punishing your body, is causing a lot of stress within us. We don't even realize it, but little bit of sweet is not going to harm. Like they say, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So yes, 1 or 2 spoons, it's a, or even diabetics can have that much, provided you stick to your quota of sugar. You don't exceed that. Just because I said sugar is not bad doesn't mean you start having bowlfuls of sugar. Yeah. 2 spoons a day, it's up of, raw sugar is fine. You decide whether you want it in your tea, whether you want it in your food, whether you want it in your sharbat or in your kheer. I think the smartest thing would be to have a bowl of kheer with 2 spoons of sugar in it. Yeah. So we make those choices, but don't deprive yourself of any of these tastes. Every single day we need to taste these flavors to feel good, to feel satiated, and be stress free. Okay.
You asked a question, and somebody had asked that before also, about good fats and bad fats.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Perfect.
Just remember to, I'll talk about it. Don't worry. Yeah. So I just wanted to, tell you, share a little bit about umami, because I don't think too many people know it. But we do say random things like broccoli mein protein hai. I keep getting these questions. Okay, mushrooms have proteins. Can I eat that? Vegetarians. So umami, yeah, these are all the umami foods, and they all contain a little bit of protein. All of them. Yeah. So, but it's a very small, the vegetables contain a very small portion of protein. So it's never a substitute for protein. However, yes, technically they do contain protein and they have that taste. What is important to note is that they contain very high concentrations of L-glutamate, which is an amino acid, that is responsible for neurotransmission. So remember I spoke about, fats. So you were mentioning fats. So good fats will contain L-glutamate. Yeah. And that is going to help us with nerve transmissions and the brains. And the entire nervous system is going to get food. They all need food, right? Our muscles need food. Our bones need food. I mean, of course, not the way we eat it. The body manufactures its own food in a manner that the rest of the body can absorb and assimilate that, right? So that is the importance of umami. And if all of them contain high levels, they are mostly protein rich. And the best protein, they say, is the human breast milk. Now, there is no equivalent really, but soya has some of this. Soya is also umami, right? And that has all those necessary amino acids. Important to tell you about amino acids here. I think I must, since it's just cropped up. See, our body is made up of water and proteins, nothing else. Yeah, everybody has the same composition, roughly 70% water and 30% is protein. Let me come back, stop sharing and come back here. Yeah, so what are these 30% proteins? I mean, they are basically different combinations of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks. They're like bricks, when you build a building or a structure, you need bricks and iron and all of that. So amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Quickly, yeah. Now, we need 13, there are 13 non-essential and 9 essential amino acids. The non-essential ones are produced by the body. Essential ones have to be taken in with our diet, and the body does not store proteins. So they need to be taken every single day. Yeah, which is why your entire diet, I mean, yeah, umami means proteins, nothing related to taste. No, it doesn't. It's a taste bud. It's like a taste bud that was discovered. They call it umami taste, but most of that protein, most of the proteins have that flavor, or mushrooms, it's a kind of a different bodily flavor. You have that, it's a very meaty kind of a flavor. You have, like, that's why they call soya the vegetarian meat. It's got that different flavor. Or a broth, when you make a broth, that will taste a little meaty. So that is the umami taste. Very difficult to say it. Someone says, I eat less. Okay, we'll come to these questions, personal questions. Please, Harshita, please hold it and we'll come back to it.
So telling us about amino acids, can we take a vitamin or something if we feel we're not getting enough, or we have to eat it through food?
Vitamin is a vitamin. Amino acids are proteins.
Yeah, but you hear that you have these protein powders and this, that, and the other that have all these amino acids these days.
These are supplements. I'll
Yeah.
tell you how much you need. You need, on an average, 1 gram per kilogram of body weight, irrespective of whether you're tall, thin, fat, short, it doesn't matter. Just to maintain your body. Why? Everything is protein, whether it's your skin or your hair or your nails or your organs or bones and muscles. Everything is made out of protein. Now, if our body is deficient in proteins, which it is in India, India is a terribly protein deficient nation. And if it is deficient, then clearly something or the other is not going to work the way it should. And which is why we start facing all kinds of challenges. Our hormones are made out of proteins. So if they are not working properly, or they're not there in sufficient quantities, our digestion will not happen, metabolism will not happen. So many other things. There's so many processes that happen, whether your blood is flowing from one part of the body to the other, the circulatory system, nervous system, none of this is going to work properly, and they would be compromised if there is a protein deficiency. Okay, so yes, supplements can be taken, especially by vegetarians, because they have limited sources of protein, and you can take it to supplement. But how much can you eat? It's very expensive, right? So one scoop will be about 10 grams, and you have to see whether all those 9 essential amino acids are there or not. If they're not there, they're just giving you expensive stuff. I mean, they will not give you the expensive aminos. They'll give you the cheap aminos, and they'll say it has 7, it has 6. But do your research before you buy stuff. Yeah. Similarly for vitamins, I mean, you take a multivitamin, find out if the expensive vitamins, which are the fat soluble ones, that's A, D, E, K, I mean, whether these are there in the sufficient quantities or not in that multivitamin, or are you just paying for expensive urine? Yeah, it's going to get flushed out, whatever is extra. Okay, so sorry, someone 83. I'm asking.
We'll take the questions later.
Yeah, okay. So you take care of that, Sukirti, because I'll, get tempted because, there's so much to talk about when it comes to food. and something I'm really passionate about. So let me get back to it. Okay. So we come to the next slide. So my top five, I mean, talking about food, I'm not done with the secrets yet. Okay. So, so my top five healthy eating tips, I thought I must share my tips. Choose your ingredients wisely and choose a healthy cooking method. Don't kill the nutrients, as I always say. Chew well. I've covered the chewing. Yeah, you digest food better and burn more calories too. I mean, there's this whole fad about it's a fad, yeah, smoothies. I mean, it just sounds so cool and looks so pretty. You have all these fancy looking things. Do you know? I mean, just take those ingredients and eat it. Take yogurt, take those berries, take those seeds and chew and eat. You'll get the same stuff. Just drinking it because of convenience, yes, it is some 300 to 350 calories, which is the benchmark. So you take the same quantity, eat it, you'll burn more calories when you're chewing. Is that a better idea? You get the same taste. That's my tip. Yeah, you can of course choose to have your smoothie, no worries. Once in a while, it's okay. Then hydrate through the day and be mindful of thirst versus hunger. This is a very important point. Uh, how would you know? See, the points, the zones which give out signals for hunger and thirst are very close to each other in our brain. So most of the times, the brain is not able to discern whether you're hungry or whether you're thirsty. Invariably, we are thirsty. You're hungry only when your stomach is growling. Yeah, that is hunger. Rest of it is thirst. So I hope this big secret that I've shared with you, you're going to remember and apply. And you'll suddenly realize that you're not eating as much as you would earlier. Because you should eat, like I said, when your stomach grumbles, and stop using the clock to fix your meal times. Which brings me back to intermittent fasting. If you actually go through our Indian way of life or Indian way of living, the way our grandparents did, they were actually practicing intermittent fasting most of the time. Besides the regular fast that they kept twice a week, which is what is recommended, even, I mean, when it comes from the West, we are very happy and we like to pay for it, but it has been there with us throughout. It's inbuilt in our culture, and I think it's high time we reclaim what is ours and start applying what was really beneficial when those lifestyle diseases were not plaguing our country the way it is today. India today is the diabetic capital of the world, nothing to be proud of, and it's constantly rising. We are also very, very fast progressing towards being an obese nation. Imagine, I mean, look at the, this is crazy because we have, on one hand, we have starvation and hunger, and on the other hand, we have obesity to deal with. So these are all epidemics now. They're not no longer lifestyle diseases. Not only for the rich, even the poor are getting diabetic. Yeah. So be very mindful. We're eating too much food. That is my thinking. And if you actually follow this hunger versus thirst, you will realize that you really don't need 3 meals also. I'm not saying cut down on your food. Yeah. But eat only when you're hungry. Don't, constantly eat without checking first whether you're thirsty or you're hungry. That is my suggestion. And that is going to actually transform the way you look at food as well. Slowly. I mean, I hope I've, these thoughts I'm bombarding you with, I hope you internalize and try out a few of these, and then you'll be able to, uh, make an informed decision and see what works for you. Yeah. Okay. Coming back to the presentation. Yeah. All right. Now, when I say choose wisely, okay, let's look at this. This is my favorite visual. Now, on one side, you have a favorite snack, which is an aloo bhujia. And there are 8 spoons of aloo bhujia, which is about 480 calories. And on the other side, you have 2 chapatis, dal, katori and katori sabzi. which is about 480 calories. Yeah. And there is a third thing, there's a curd also, which I've not been able to take, but okay. And a little bit of pickle. But that is the standard food. Now, is it worth it? If you're really hungry, what is it that you should eat? Do you think you're going to be satiated with 8 spoons of aloo bhujia? And do we actually stop at 8 spoons? That is the question I'd like to leave you with as far as that slide is concerned. Yeah. Let's go back to the slides again. All right. Let's look at this. Since I mentioned sugars, I mean, I don't know if Sabina's here, but if Sabina's here, she'll agree. There seems to be a vilification of sugar everywhere, but just look at what we are eating. We don't have campaigns against cakes and pastries and confectionery or, ice creams, but you'll have it like, oh, sugar is very bad. We have sugar-free diets and you really should not be taking sugar. Pray why? Just take a spoon of sugar, your taste buds are stimulated and they are happy. And you don't have to go and eat all of this. Just look at the amount of carbohydrates that are coming into your system. And do you know that all the carbs that we eat actually breaks down in our body, if it gets digested, that is, and it breaks down, and a small part of it becomes fiber. Fiber is also a carbohydrate. We keep talking about fiber, and the rest of it is converted to glucose because that is the format in which the body is able to absorb food. So it breaks down to glucose, which is a sugar. So why are we saying sugar is bad? So you're taking sugars indirectly, through all the carbohydrates, a wide variety. This is just an obvious carbohydrate, but everything has carbs, But we have carbs in grains, we have carbs in anything, the legumes, everything has carbohydrates, which will essentially break down into sugar. But we start a war and, against 1 spoon of sugar, which is going to make the person very happy and de-stressed. So think about it. These are all thoughts that I want to leave you with, which is why I have visuals here. Okay, this is easy. Left or right? If you have a meal like these large fries, they are so yum. I mean, even I like them. But if you make a meal out of it, and with the ketchup, it is equivalent to so much of food on the left side. What do you think is going to fill your tummy up, or what is going to make you feel satiated? What is it that is going to make the body happy? What do you think? A plate full of fries, or 1 glass of milk, a bowl of yogurt, and so many fruits and vegetables. Yeah, I think I can eat this the entire day. I won't be able to finish. Right? So, like I said, yeah, give in to your cravings. You can have 4 or 5 fries when there's a craving, but don't make a meal out of it. Be mindful of what you eat. Okay? Next. Okay. Let's look at these chaps. What do we have here? On one side, we have the natural juices. In India, we also have things like jaljeera and lassi and chaach, which is all on the right side. And then you have sugary drinks. If you go abroad, I mean, most of the people don't have water there. I mean, they'll have soda, and they have a lot of these drinks. So if you want to make them lose weight, the easiest thing to do is to tell them, stop your sugary drinks and 5 kilos down. I mean, it's going to be that stark. But that's how it is. Read those labels. Whenever you buy anything, read the label behind and see how much of that energy is coming. How much of energy do you really need it? Secondly, how much of it is coming from carbohydrates and sugars? How much of, they'll say things like no trans fat, which is very fine. I mean, what are fats? I mean, okay, we'll come back to the fats later. I remember that question, but
Sujata, we will have
remember
to.
the sugar. Sorry?
I said we're running out of time.
We're running out of time. Okay, let's quickly go. Okay, this is very obvious. Fried versus non-fried. Non-fried is guilt-free. Yeah. All right. The 7th secret. Big secret. Embrace the circadian rhythm. Now, what is the circadian rhythm? That is basically eat between, as far as food is concerned, you eat between sunrise to sunset, your meals. And beyond that, you can just have some light snacks, a soup or a little salad or some peanuts or something like that. Don't kind of eat meals after that. That is if you, not everybody needs to follow it, but you can follow it only if you want a flat stomach. Yeah, that is so if you think you want to get a flat stomach, just try the circadian, try to get the rhythm back in your lives, and you will find that it just starts, working like magic. Okay. See, I've given you some magical secret here. Yeah. The light and darkness actually, give signals to our brain to release hormones. What time which hormone should get released is actually, this is there very extensively covered in Ayurveda. And this is a science. It is actually a science, irrespective of what people say. That's my belief. I mean, I'm not imposing it on you, but there is a lot of goodness in that. And if you actually embrace the circadian rhythm like I have, or I recommend to my clients, you will also get benefited in more ways than you can imagine. Yeah. And like I said, Ayurveda has it. Eat your main meals between dawn to dusk, and a light snack, like I said. The fourth point is very important. 4 active hours after a meal. I don't mind if you eat after 6 or 7. Yeah. But you cannot go to bed for 4 hours. Remember that. Yeah. And just time it accordingly. And no caffeine, tobacco, alcohol, or at least an hour before bedtime. If you keep these thumb rules, basic thumb rules, you'll see a big change in your overall health and stuff. And of course, last but not the least, keep smiling and spread happiness. Very, very important. And like I always say, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and the right time to start is now. Yeah. And we'll be taking up question answers. May not be able to answer all, but you can always connect with me. Follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, or I have my number there. That's a WhatsApp number. You can get in touch. Okay. So,
yes, we have lots of questions. So the first one we'll take from Jashan. Go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, how will we calculate body mass index and body fat also, ma'am?
Okay. There are formulas for that, Jashan. Okay. So body mass index, there is a calculator. It's a ratio of height and weight. Okay. And there is a mathematical formula for calculating your BMI that depend on your height and your weight. Okay. And it's an indicator. Body fat, you need calipers. Okay. There is something called calipers, and there are measurements that need to be taken. That's separately taken in different areas for men, different areas for women. And again, it's like a log table, so you have to take those ratios of those readings and get it. So yes, you need the calipers. Without that, you cannot calculate body fat. Some of the gyms now have the more advanced body fat calculator, wherein you just kind of get there and it'll calculate it for you. So that is another option. You can't have it in the house. But if you want to do it in the house, you need the calipers and apply the body fat formula. Yeah, there are formulas for that. These are ratios.
Excellent. Next question we'll take from Soma. Soma, go ahead. Soma Datta, go ahead. All right, while we Soma, go ahead. Soma, we can't hear you. Go ahead. No. Krishna Raj?
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so there are days when I get up in the morning, I feel a little hungry, and I cannot just resort to green tea or something. I need something to eat. And we are from south, so normally we have a lunch early morning, as in somewhere like 9 o'clock-ish. So there's no breakfast. So should I focus on having an early lunch, or do I need a breakfast early in the morning?
That is entirely up to you. Normally, I recommend if you're having a full meal, then keep at least 4 hours gap between meals. But if you're having a small snack, see, if you're hungry in the morning, it's quite likely that you didn't have a balanced meal at night, which couldn't carry you through. See, the problem is when you don't include proteins in the diet, and I know with South Indian diets, that's a challenge. When you don't have proteins in your diet, then, the body is craving constantly. It doesn't feel satiated. Carbohydrates always make you hungry. To give you an example, if I put two samosas here and, a glass of milk, milk is something you'll say, okay, I really don't feel like having the milk, so I'll have a samosa. You'll eat one and you'll immediately want to eat the next one. You know why? Not because we need it, because we've taken in carbs and the body's not got proteins. So it sends the signal saying that I haven't got my food. So you're going to eat that samosa and still feel hungry. Whereas if you have a glass of milk, you will not want to eat anything for the next couple of hours. Just try it. So if you include, Krishan Raj, if you include proteins in your diet like paneer, etc., if I'm assuming you're a vegetarian. If you're not, then you can eat your meats or whatever. You have proteins, include proteins in your diet, and you'll see the difference. You'll not get those hunger pangs in the morning.
So would you recommend protein supplements?
The supplement cannot, how much do you weigh? Can I ask you, Krishan Raj? Approximately.
I should be around 90.
Yeah. So do you know 90 grams of protein? How are we going to get 90 grams? Now, let me give you an example. A glass this size, okay, would be about 8 grams of protein. That's it. And dal or sambar, it's dal is a B grade protein which gets denatured with heat. So when you're taking 1 katori of dal and boiling it, loses out 50% anyway. 1 katori would be about, say, 20 grams roughly, 15 to 20 grams. That gets denatured by heat. And what you do to that 1 katori dal, you put a lot of water and it's shared by 4 to 5 people. So whatever protein is left, per person share is very little, barely 2 grams per katori of dal. So either you have a cooker full of dal or, you're not getting your proteins. So you have to actually, soya is a very good source for vegetarians. Paneer, see a size like this, a palm size of, paneer would be about 20 grams. I have a video on my YouTube channel for soya, so where I've actually shown the quantity which is recommended. You should not be eating too much of soya. Okay. So at a time, but roughly again, a palm sized portion of Nutri-Nuggets, which are very good. Yeah. You can have that. That is again going to be about 20 to 30 grams. Soya is actually a very good source of protein. But as you can see, how am I going to add it up to 90? So for a vegetarian, yes, maybe 1 or 2 scoops of protein powder, because, they would be about 10 grams each. Or think of other sources. Everything else has minute quantities of protein for veg. If you eat eggs, fantastic. 1 egg, 8 grams of boiled. And if you fry it, then it, reduces to about 4 grams. So keep adding eggs.
Yeah, so fantastic.
Good, because there are no carbs.
I know, Sujata, the questions will not end, and we apologize if we've not been able to get to yours. But incredibly informative session. We've had lots of questions. So the video will be available on our Facebook page. It will be available on our YouTube. Please do put your questions there. We will definitely ask Sujata to answer them there. We'll try to get to as many of the questions as possible. Sujata, any last words before we sign off for the day?
Well, I think, okay, how many of you feel that you got value out of today's session? If you got value, could you type value in the chat box? Thank you so much. So, most of you are writing value. Great, great. So, guys, if you found value, then could you think of 2 things? Don't pick everything. Start with 2 things that you felt you could, which you think is doable. Start with any 2 things and get cracking on that. Once you get good at that, then pick the next 2. I think there were a whole bunch of stuff here. I've tried to put a whole lot of things. Of course, there are other secrets too. I mean, you can't, in such a short time, it's not possible to let out all the secrets. But yeah, so whatever is there, just try to pick two at a time and, make that behavior change. It requires behavior change. It needs discipline, consistency. So just do that and then pick the next one. And, I'm sure you'll get benefited. And I'd be delighted to know, the benefits that you've received through this session. I mean, just stay in touch and do that. That will be great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all. This video will be available on our Facebook page and our Instagram. Please do reach out also to Sujata on Facebook and on Instagram. We thank everyone for joining us for today. We once again apologize if we're not able to get to your questions, but there's so many. And with that, we wish everyone a very, very good night.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful being here. Bye.